And welcome to this week's edition of the Power Chat with Takiyah and Nancy. We're so happy to be here with you today. Just so you know who we are. My name is Takiyah Gettys. I am a kinetic specialist and a life activation coach, and it is my passion and mission to help people get truly connected to their authentic selves and to ignite their soulful power in the world, because we need people's geniuses. We need people to have inspirational connection on high and be present in the world doing what they can only do, and only they can do.
Yeah. I like the way that sounds. I'm like, sign me up.
Yes. And this comes in many forms. It comes through releasing weight, the weight out on your emotions, the weight on your mental body. It
Hey,
comes
Tim.
from hello, Tim, hello. It comes from, releasing physical weight as it translates to mental and emotional weight, and and it's really not I really, when you get to the core of what we do currently in the state of the world, right? There can be peace if you seek peace. There can be goodness if you seek goodness.
Hmm.
Whatever you seek to see, you will find. And also, I know this to be true that there's, because of the choices and decisions that we make and the resulting kind of worldly events, I know that it's true that people are intensely disconnected from themselves, from the truth of who they are. And they are intensely identified with their bodies as who they are. So there's this really unhealthy combination of an intense, deep attachment to the physical, but a really tragic disconnection from the truth of who they are. And so then it gets represented in the world as what you see,
Mm.
as the ego driving things, patriarchy ruling, as us choosing self-preservation over all else, as us trying to seek approval outside of ourselves, right? And so we need to flip the tables. We need more feminine energy in the world, and we need more connection to the truth of who we are, and to begin to release our attachment to our physicality. And you can still, and I recommend being grateful for our physicality, as every experience we have in the world comes through this,
Sure.
right? We are in the world, not of it, right? And so it's really, this is the crux of the work that we do with and for people, and it's the crux of the work we do, in the world as ourselves.
There you go, Tim.
You experienced this recently, Tim? Tell us
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Tell us more. Share
Um,
on that.
this is
Feel
the
free to.
journey of self-evolution, right? Is
Mm.
to have these awarenesses and recognitions, and then to be able to walk the walk, to live the truth that you now are aware of, because you've
Yeah.
always known it. It's just about becoming aware of it, remembering it. And once when you do that, you begin to walk in it. And that's what we need more of in this day and time. We need more people walking in the truth that they know.
Right. I think I see often, even within myself, what I'll do is I'll try to find out what is it about me? What is it that's happening? What, right? But then having the discovery and then doing nothing with it, there was no point in having any discovery if you won't, I should say, do something with what you've discovered, right? Like you need to appreciate the fact that you discovered something about yourself. You discovered a space about yourself or something that was misfiring and that was keeping you out of alignment. And to just say, oh, now I've discovered it and keep on the same path, you do yourself such a huge disservice, and the rest of us in the world who would love to experience the true you. But when it all starts with just, peeling back a layer and making a discovery, being aware of it, and then living with that awareness, living with knowing
Right.
that.
Right. It's said that if you know and don't do, then you don't truly know, you know.
Ooh,
And,
right?
and that's what's apparent. It's that we don't know that we know. And that's really what it is. It's that we don't know that we know, and so that we're constantly seeking, and we're seeking from this place of brokenness, you know.
Is it would you say it's a sense of denial in a way that, like, that can't be it? Like, when you realize something and say, "That can't be what's in my way. It's gotta be something else." It's that come into play a lot.
I do definitely see that sometimes, there's denial, of our greatness. There's denial of our capacity, of our capabilities. There's a denial of our power.
Mm.
We're in a constant state of giving it away and or trying to give it away. And the fact is, it's frustrating for us because we can't really give it away. And so when every time we try to give it away, we just feel horrible, and we never get the resulting outcome that we really truly want in our hearts. And so then, and we try to figure out other ways to feel good, and that can come in ways that don't serve us, you know. So I see that quite a bit.
I liked what you said. It was, we already know.
Yes.
And I love that because if I hear it, maybe if it's the first time you've heard it and it doesn't seem to resonate with you, it's fine. Just stay with some of what you hear here and just let it, I guess, percolate. Let it sit like a tea bag in a good warm cup of water, and it'll just come out. But when you the idea that you already know is powerful because when we're on a search, a discovery mission, whatever, how we our journey, our personal journey, and we continue to think that it's out there somewhere. That's just that phrase. The answer is out there somewhere. The answer is not out there somewhere. It's within. And the fact that you already know, but it's so covered up, it's so hidden, it's so denied, it's so whatever we do in ourselves to say, no, that's not the thing. No, it can't possibly be behind that door. No, 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 because I've closed that door. I laugh at that because that's even funnier because when you close the door, it doesn't go away. It's just it's there behind the door. So I laugh at myself because I've said it before, like, oh no, that can't be it. I've closed that door years ago. It's like,
Close the door. We use our drill to make a little peephole so we can look at it from time to time, check in, see if it's still there or not.
yeah, because that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
So the fact that we already know deep inside of us is we
Yeah.
already know it. It's so to see that the answer is out there. It's not the answer's in here, and
Yeah.
it's not that. I don't want to make it contrite and say that it's not that big of a journey. In that it's not that far away. It's so within. It's so close by, but sometimes those the access route isn't always easy to discover because
It's
we've
in
done a
fact
really good job of camouflaging it.
it's in fact the greatest journey of our lives
Mm,
to get to the depth of our inner world.
and it never
Right?
stops.
And that's the thing, and that is what makes it, I think, so it feels elusive for people. And because so let's talk practicality, right? Let's talk about how people can begin, right? Because
Yeah.
um, you know, taking actionable steps toward really connecting is the greatest use of your time and energy, because everything you seek outwardly eventually it disappears, right? And things move when you it's a fact, quantumly it's a fact. When you look at something, it changes. And so the only true sight is insight.
That was a deep
And
statement.
I just that was straight from on high, because I've never said that before, but that's true.
I love
Ooh, I
that.
have tingles. I have tingles. Okay.
That one jumped out at me enough that I was like, "Wow,
Hmm.
oops, I misspelled it," but we get the point. The only true sight is in
Yes.
sight.
Wow, then we need that on a t-shirt.
Absolutely. But
Wow.
yeah, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
that's everything else is just what somebody wants us to see, right? Everything because here's the thought, if we have the power to think that we can lock something away, then we have the power to design what it is we're going to see. And so, likewise, right? If we think we have the answer elsewhere, it's outside of us. That's because we've determined that that's what we want to see. Hmm. So if we have that kind of a power over something that really doesn't really pertain to us,
Right.
take
We are,
that and realize the internal power that you have.
yes, we are observers and be observed.
Yeah.
And so to begin to know that we are not our thoughts, I think is one of
Mhm.
the first steps for people to really be on the path to mastering insight,
Mm,
is to recognize that because you can be aware of the thoughts and see them and they are not you, then you have to know that there's someone thinking them that is also separate from the thoughts, right? And
right.
so, and with that comes power, right? It comes a recognition of our power that we are also generating the thoughts. And then if you understand the root of your thoughts, right? That thoughts are formed out of experience, out of beliefs, out of programming, then you can let go of your attachment to thoughts as all the truth, because it's not a fact is that most of the thoughts we think are not true. And so to this is step one, right? Is to recognize that you are the observer and the observed. And so if we can just notice this and be in this place of integrity with our truth and be able to notice thoughts and notice that when thoughts are triggering emotions in us, we
Mm,
also have control over that process, because if thoughts trigger the emotion, then we control the thoughts, then we can also create our state. And so it's also true that sometimes emotions come before we recognize we're having thoughts,
right.
and that's okay too. Either way, it works both ways. We, emotions are energy in motion, and we also are able to shift our energy. And so it's simply about where we put our focus and our attention. What we give our attention to, we give our power to. And
Yeah.
right? And so this is where we begin in this internal process of just recognizing what's happening. And we
Mhm.
notice this without judgment. And we just be aware of our current process, because we can only affect change on something that we have awareness of, right? Consciously, purposefully affect change, right?
Right.
Sometimes change happens as a result, and a a byproduct of some other thing we're doing. But to really be able to direct a process, it requires presence, right, and awareness.
Yeah. And what's interesting is there are a lot just you and I talk about this often, and often enough that all the buzzwords that you can use out there, people will use and not really have an understanding of what it is. It's just because it's a word that's been out there and it makes somewhat sense, but when you really understand or really dive into what the word can mean, one of those words is mindfulness, right? So people talk about, oh, it's be mindful, mindfulness, and to understand that and to me when I simplify the word, because yeah, it's as simple as it can be, actually. Mindfulness right there. It just means keeping your intention in the present. It's like being present. It's mindful of the present. So to me, when I just break it down to that little piece, what that helps me, and I don't know, maybe you're watching this and hearing this and it does it for you. If not, let us know. But for me, that's what you're saying is that be aware of your thoughts. So if you're actually in the moment, if you're present in what's happening and you're not just nodding your head and going through the motions while your mind is someplace else, you will begin to see that your emotion was just flicked on for some reason. Or you'll be mindful enough to see that I just had a thought about that and what does that mean to me? And you become so much more in tune that it isn't such a long journey inward, because it's right there in front of you. It's like the movie screen. It's just right there. And I love the way you quickly are able to do that. You're quickly, you've done this for so long and practiced it for so long that you're it's almost instantaneous for you to I don't know, to hear your thoughts, to see your thoughts. I've seen it happen, and it's talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
About just practice making you better at recognizing your process and directing your process.
Well, that whole mindful thing, that whole, like, being present, um, the power, I guess, I'm thinking about the powerful, how powerful it is to be mindful, how mindfulness really does direct it,
Yeah.
and how
So
easily we can fracture our thoughts out.
yeah, it's presence is our greatest gift. And so, have you ever been talking to someone and you can see that they're not completely present with you? They're they're in their body with you, but in their mind they're not. And and really, what we want is someone's full attention, because we recognize how powerful and healing, and we feel seen, we feel heard, and we feel connected to someone when we have someone's full attention. Our minds can take us down rabbit holes of feeling less than and not worthy, and
Mm.
all kinds of stories about the depth of the friendship or the connection when someone doesn't give us their full attention. It can be a really, really touchy thing. In relationships, what someone uh, a lot of arguments, come about because there is a lack of presence in interactions and engagements, and there sometimes isn't language for it, but they just feel a sense of disconnection, or they
Mm.
feel a sense of separateness, or they feel something off, like we're not vibing, right? And a lot of those little moments, as if a moment could be little, but
Mhm.
those moments add up and can give an overall feeling to a relationship of something being missed, something missing.
As you said that, I thought, so what better relationship? What better relationship besides that with the divine creator, right? What better relationship can you have than with your own self,
Hmm.
right? And so everything that you just described,
Hmm.
that divided attention, that all we ever really want is to know that someone's attention is right here where we are right now. And our own self cries out for that from our own self.
Yes. Yes, if you I talked about this at an event. There's actually a good recording of a good 25-minute talk I did about going,
Mm.
like, the levels of connectivity to self, and how you can begin to bolster that for yourself. You go to my website, livetruenow.com, and you scroll down to there's a video there. Um, and this really speaks to the trifecta of self-trust, self-love, and self-care, right? That love transfers to knowing, right? Because you feel
Mm.
when you know yourself, you can love yourself, right? And when you trust yourself, it's love for yourself. When you care for yourself, you're showing love for yourself. So there's that trifecta of you know of really being cultivating a deep trust of yourself and a deep care practice for yourself, so that you feel cared for and the capacity to care for self. And then this self knowing, which all comes together under the umbrella of loving self.
Mm.
And so presence is the number one factor. It's a gift to ourselves, and it's a gift to those that we offer attention to, right? And it's a key in any and every relationship that we have. And when I say relationship, just relating, right? Because we operate in a world of relativity, and that's what we're doing here. the world of absolute is that of the divine. So if we were formless all the time and we were able to, you know, capture that and harness the power of the divine completely in this world, we would often choose not to take a form.
Mm,
Right? We'd be formless.
right.
And so in the world, spirit world, in the world of formlessness, where everything is one, you know, that's the world of absolutes. We currently live in the world of relativity, where we know everything because we are able to see its opposite,
Yeah.
right? And so, and we learn more about ourselves as we have more relationships, as we develop more intimacy and deeper relating with people and situations and processes. We also deepen our ability to know ourselves. That's how we
So
do
in that little snippet in there, right?
it. Hmm.
We actually, whether or not we're aware that we know more about ourselves through every
Right.
relationship, through every experience, right?
Hmm.
Whether or not you want whether or not you're outwardly, knowingly aware of what that is, you are still learning. You are still experiencing it. You are still knowing it about yourself. It's just where it goes and gets stored. So if you're not present enough to say, what did I just learn about myself in this moment? What was my part in this, right? Oh, I just feel like giddy about this because it just blows my mind how deep this goes, right? So it becomes a stored knowledge someplace unless you're present.
Yeah.
It becomes a knowledge that's just waiting for you to call it forward. It just sits back there.
Yeah. There are so many ways that presence can be a gift,
Yeah.
but the fact is, the things that we are present to
Mm.
become our memories that we can recall, right? And
Yeah.
that becomes our life, and
It's unless you have therapy, and so you have to recall you have to go in some sort of hypnotic state to actually recall a memory because you shoved it so far back. But right.
so
When you're present, it's right there.
usually it's because we weren't present that happens,
Mhm.
right? Where you only took it in subconsciously.
Yeah,
Mm.
there you go.
So a lot of times people will say, "Oh, I'm getting older. I can't remember things like I used to." So often, it's not even about age, and either way, it's not about age. But so often, it's not about you physically or your capacity or capabilities. It's simply about the lack of presence in the moment that disallowed you to actually receive the
Mm.
information consciously, that you can't recall what was said or done and who was there, and right. And so so often in this world of distractions, we're often another thought pattern while someone is communicating, where we're on our phones trying to capture the experience while we're having the experience instead of just
Yes.
having the experience,
Right.
right? So that we can share the experience that we didn't actually have later with people
Right.
who also didn't have it.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in.
And I'm not shunning. I mean, look, technology is awesome, and it's just really about but it's a
Thank you
tool
for
like
that.
anything else. And so we just, I think it behooves us. I love that word, to use it in a way that serves us at the greatest in the greatest way possible. And
Yeah.
sometimes we need to leave it. Like I love it when I forget my phone. So I think I sometimes I just subconsciously I think I want to take a break from my phone,
Sure.
and I leave it, and I
Yeah.
don't go back for it. If I have to leave it, I just leave it.
No big deal. That's what I tell myself when it
No,
happens, like, "No big deal.
no.
I'm
And
about to be as present as I can be."
exactly. It's things like that, like even recognizing your relationship with your phone. Like, do you feel like something's missing? Do you feel more empty when you don't have it? Do you
Mm.
feel disconnected from the world when you don't have it? Like, what happens? What is the feeling you have when your phone is
Mm.
not in arm's reach or not in the same vicinity? You
Right.
know, does it send you into a panic? Do you get halfway to your destination and turn around and go back for it? Like, how much power have you given your phone?
Yeah.
over your experience of life.
Interestingly, I think that when I've done that, I think I have a fleeting moment where I think, "Oh my gosh, I'm disconnected from the world," and then I can feel the corners of my mouth kinda turn up, and I'm like, "Yes, I am disconnected from the world." It's not a bad thing, so and I just go off and enjoy it, so that's, and it isn't a shunning. I'm glad that you said that 'cause, never are you, have I known you to have that intention, and, and I see it myself with myself, I wanna share it because I'm excited. I wanna share it with people on social media because people I know and love or like, and might wanna experience this moment, and I know that I have done that. I started to share and then said, "That was all I'm going to share," and then I shut the phone off and I
Yeah.
put it absolutely away, because if there's one thing I've learned from you is that the experience when you're present is so much more vibrant
Mm,
and
it's rich.
impactful than when
Yeah.
you're trying to make sure that everybody else saw it,
Yeah.
that you got it out to everybody else, but what about getting it into yourself? So, yeah.
The miracles, are happening all the time, and
Hmm.
we are able to fully embody them and be entangled in their magic when we're not thinking about what's next or how to capture something that is fleeting.
Yeah.
So, this is all the work,
Mhm.
this really allowing ourselves to surrender to the the truth of impermanence, and allowing ourselves to fully be in a moment and to let it go without having to capture it with some device, and only
Mhm.
but fully capture it with our presence is the greatest gift that we could give. And then to share a story with all the exuberance that you can muster because you fully experienced it and took it all
Yeah.
in, and you give that energy to someone else when you see them, right? It's just that's more magical even than
Mhm.
capturing it on your phone and like replaying it. Because what do you play? What do you say when you had to be there anyway? It doesn't really translate anyway. It
Every
just
time, every
every
time.
time, right? So just be there fully yourself, right, when it's happening.
Oh, that's so
Um,
true.
so just the final thing I wanted to add, just about this process, whenever we're stepping into this conscious growth, this conscious process of evolution,
Mm.
I think it's important. I love what you said about your mouth turning up when you kind of caught yourself going into a lack mindset, or like a negative spiral. You smiled at it, and I think it's one of the most important things is to remember. Like, how would you talk to yourself if you were talking to your 5-year-old self? You
Mm.
know, you wouldn't scold her or him or them. You wouldn't, be mad at them for not getting it right. You would simply smile and say, "Oh, they're learning. It's so beautiful. Isn't that sweet?" Like, and you
Yeah.
give them a hug, and you probably try to take a picture of it or catch it on video so you can show it to them later.
Funny how that is, right?
But one of the most, I think, important ingredients in this process is curiosity, and this innocence, this levity we can bring to ourselves as we're going through the process, because we're hilarious. I mean, come on,
I laugh
we're
all the time
hilarious
about us, about my own self and the things I
human
catch myself
beings.
thinking and doing. I can't help but laugh and think that now that and I actually will say out loud sometimes, "Now that's hilarious." Where you just went is so hilarious.
Yes,
How do you feel?
yes, yes. So I think this is a great place to bring it in.
It
I've really
is.
enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you all watching have enjoyed it and have gleaned something worthwhile from it. Please comment below and let us know. I hold weekly classes, 6:15 to 7 a.m. That really move people into connecting with their bodies and releasing their attachment from their form. really, honing their mastery over presence, and getting fit and feeling great and creating a self care practice for yourself on a daily basis that is more focused on creating flow in your life and creating health in your body than it is what you look like, even though you end up looking great just because, that's what happens because you feel
Side
better
effect.
and you're moving more, and that's what happens, right? And so, join us. If you want more information on my classes, please let me know. Send me a message. Um, you can also tune in here every week and give us topics. What would you like us to talk about? We're happy to take requests, and stay tuned. We have some great things coming up. Just know that in this moment, every day is a brand new day, and you can begin again. And so, if this is your year to resolve, to truly change your life, transform your life in a way that is resonant with your heart and one that fully expresses your soulful power, we're here for you. So just send us a message and I'll be happy to talk with you. I offer complimentary consultations, and yeah. So looking forward to seeing you all as we round out this 2021. And lots of love, Nance.
So good, so good. I normally will throw in my. I'd love to just remind you all that you're amazingly made, and there is no one anywhere designed to be you except you. So you can design the heck out of it and have a blast. But I also today I had a quote that I wanted to share because I want to pop it on the screen, but it's Mother Teresa, and I just allegedly she said it. I wasn't there, but be happy in the moment. That's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more.
So
The
very good.
simplicity of just that, right?
Mhm. I can't think of a better way to send off peace and love to the world. Be the light that you are in the world, and we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel next week, Sunday 7ish p.m. Eastern time.
Always Eastern time. That's
I'm
true.
in flow, baby. I'm in flow. Time, is all relative. Peace and love. See you soon.
Oh, take care.